How's it going? Mike here at CBI Off-Road. Today we're going to be showing you how to install our Tundra full skids. Let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing our factory Toyota skid plate. It is just held on with 5 12mm bolts. There's 2 up here in the front and then 3 down here in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and remove that, and then we can get on with putting our skids on. So we're getting ready to put our front skid on. It's going to be the first one we install. You may need a friend to help you hold it up in place, get some of the bolts started. So we're going to go ahead and set that up. All right, now we got those 4 started. We are going to want to leave them a little bit loose because we're going to want to be able to shift this thing and move it while we're putting on the rest of the skids. So we got the front part of the front skid on. We're going to go ahead and loosely install our carriage bolts into the rear half of the front skid. You do have 4 holes that are all right next to each other. The ovaled ones are just a drain hole. They're not a mounting hole. And then you have 2 slotted rectangular ones. Those are going to be what holds your carriage bolt in. We're going to go ahead and you're going to get 2 4-inch ones, and they're going to come right up through. You're going to get a flat washer and then your serrated flange nut. We're going to go ahead and just again loosely install those on each side, and then we can move on to the rear. So our rear skids are going to be a 2-piece design. We have the front part of the rear skid. It's kind of slotted here, so it's actually going to sit right up against here. You're going to have 2 1/2-inch by 1-inch or so carriage bolts that are going to come up through here and bolt that in place. And again, we're just going to kind of loosely install that, let it hang there. We're going to grab the next piece, we're going to set it up in place. So we got our rear half of the rear skids. Again, it's kind of got this spot, and it's going to slide right up onto the front half of the rear skids. We're going to use our, I believe these are 4 1/2-inch by 3/8 carriage bolts. They're going to come up right through 2 of these holes and through our frame. We're going to go ahead and set this thing up in place. All right, now with that one in place, kind of leaving it loose, we're going to go ahead and mate the other 2 together and put the rest of our carriage bolts in. So once we got both of our rear skids up in place, again, we had our 2 longer carriage bolts, 3/8. They went up through the frame, and with our black flat washer and nut, and then the 4 across the front. We have our 2 1/2-inch in the front here of the rear skid, and that takes care of the rear. Once you get everything, set up, everything put in place where you want it, we can go ahead and start tightening everything down. So once we got our skids all up in place, we can go ahead and put our drain plates in place. This front one's going to be for your oil filter. I did go ahead and put some anti-seize on inside of there just to help, with depending on where you live, depending on if you do a lot of water crossing, things like that. Just help keep the bolts from rusting, seizing inside of your skid plates when you go to do your oil changes and things. So we'll go ahead and put these in. Make sure you don't tighten one down before any of the others. Go ahead and tighten them down once you get all of them just loosely in place. All right, so we just did the front one. We now have the rear one, has the little lip on the side. This is going to be for your oil pan. Again, just a 3/16 is what these Allens are. And again, I did put some anti-seize in there just to help keep them from seizing up. that does it for the installation of our Tundra full skids. If you guys have any questions or concerns about the product, go ahead and give us a call or email us here at CBI Offroad. Thanks.